Hi supervisors, this is going to be a short tutorial on how to use the new reports or Power BI area. And the first thing you will need to do is access those reports, and you can find a button right here on the home page in WISE 2. Once you click on that reports button, you will be asked to sign in. And you just use your church account username followed by @churchofjesuschrist.org. And then you sign in using your password and possibly the two-step verification. Once you've done that, it should bring you to the Power BI home page. And this is what it looks like. This blue area is the new area that you didn't have access to before, and you should see that now. This is where you may spend a lot of your time. This is where you can find all those reports that you used to find in WISE or at CIRA. And we're going to start under Seminary Administration and just look at some of the reports available. There are daily attendance sheets, class roll, you could even do a class picture roll, transcript if you need to send students a seminary transcript for any reason. A master list will give you a list of all the seminary students in your stake. Excessive absences and tardies. This is one that I know many of you use, so we'll take a quick look at that one. Once the report has loaded, you can choose the program. And you can do you can do it by class, like an individual class at a time, or you can do all of them, and it will organize it by class for you. Make sure you're in the correct term. And then do you want to filter by absences or tardies? Unexcused absences is used by release time programs, so that doesn't apply to us. So for this example, we'll look at excessive tardies. We're going to do all the teachers and classes. Cutoff number, just for this example, we'll say that more than 5 tardies is considered excessive, so we're going to set the cutoff number as 6. So any student with 6 or more tardies is going to show up on your report. Click View Report, and it will pull up the information for you. This is going to probably be more than 1 page long. You'll only see 1 page here. But if you go up here to export, you can then export this into an Excel, a PDF, even a Microsoft Word document. So put it into a form that is usable for you. You just simply click on the type of document you want it in, and then it will create that in a download for you that you can then open and use. A birthday list may be another helpful report. I know as a teacher that was helpful to me. Registration report. This is going to show you how many students are either not enrolled or haven't been registered, or maybe they're just missing their parent permission. Down here you can also get email addresses for primary and sometimes secondary if that has been put in for your students. So there are quite a few really good reports in here that you now have access to. Another area that you might look at is program or priesthood graduation. Program, remember, that includes all students who are attending seminary in your stake program, regardless of where their stake is. If you want to do just the kids from your stake, that would be under priesthood graduation. Some of the reports that you can pull, and again, the reports are the same in both priesthood and program, it's just which students are included that is different. Seminary makeup work is a really helpful report to pull up. We'll let that load. So pick the program. You can do it by teacher, by the time range. Do you want term only or do you want the entire year? Since we're in first term, we're going to do term only. The type of makeup. Do you want to know if they're behind on the assessment, the reading, the attendance? We're just going to choose all. We want to see where our students are. Do you want to do it by class, or do you want to do all of them? Selected students, we're going to select all, but you could do individual students if you wanted to. Makeup work terms, we're going to leave it at all because we want to see the biggest picture, but you can see how you can filter this report down. Year in seminary, maybe we want to just focus on our seniors, so we could narrow it down to just S4, our seniors. Do we want one student per page? We're going to put no, just because it doesn't take up that much space, and putting more than one on a page I don't think is too much, but again, you could change that to what you want. We're going to click on View Report, and it's going to pull it up, and you'll be able to see how many absences. Unexcused, that column isn't helpful to us. Again, that's release time. How many days made up? So it gives you their makeup work. How many days to make up? That gives you exactly how many days they need to make up. Where's their attendance right now? And is there a test grade? Have they how much of the readings have they completed so far? So that's the information you can pull up on the makeup work report, which I think is very helpful. Another area of reports you can look at, you could pull up a priesthood quarterly. That'll show you what your bishops and stake presidents can see. The other one is a drill down report, and this one just gives you a lot of numbers. It's not really going to bring up names of students, but let's just pull one up so you can see what kind of numbers are available for you to look at. So we're going to look at seminary. Let's look at this year right now. Pick your program. And we are in the first term. So let's look at what our numbers look like in this first term. Okay, this gives you how many potential students you have, how many are currently enrolled, how many are average each week, how many students are attending on average. This tells you how many students have at least 75% in their class, and this tells you how many have done some reading. So, and then it also breaks it down first, second, third, fourth year. So those are maybe some good numbers to look at, maybe if you're going to a Board of Education meeting, or maybe a meeting with your stake presidency. So that's a good report that you now have access to. So we're going to go back to the program dashboard. I kind of think of that as like the home. And so every time I'm finished doing reports and I just want to go back to the home page, I click on Program Dashboard. We are now going to look over at this right side, and this is more of the recruiting side. These are reports that you would pull out of S&I recruiting previously. You can look at it by program. I think most of you will look at it by a stake view, so that's where we'll go today. And you'll notice that you may see more stakes than your own. And that is because it pulls in stakes that your students have been affiliated with. So for example, if you had a student move to your area from Logan, Utah, you're going to see Logan, Utah stake pop up. So until you narrow it down, this may not be very helpful. So one way we narrow it down is we go over here to the funnel, or what they call the slicer. We open it up. We're going to narrow this down to seminary students. And then we're going to narrow it down to a particular stake. So I just type it in the search bar. It's going to bring up the coordinating council. You just click down until you see the stake. Once you've selected it, you can see it's narrowed it down, and you can see 108 students. 87 are potential that are not enrolled, and you can see the programs that the students in your stake are attending. I find this to be a helpful snapshot of your overall stake, but maybe you want to look at it by ward. So once you hover over the graph, these little icons pop up, and click on the drill down arrow, then go over and click on the name of the stake, and it will bring up the different wards in the stake, and you can look at all of that information ward by ward. Again, it's a nice snapshot that just kind of gives you a bird's eye view of what's going on in your stake. All right, so we're going to go back up, get out of that. We're still in stakes, and now we're going to look at quick reports. In here is where you can pull a bunch of different recruiting reports. You can pull a report for students that have been dropped from your program. Those would be students that didn't attend and we dropped them, or they may have moved from your program. Incoming seminary students, that's going to be really helpful in January when we start looking at our incoming freshmen and we start getting ready for registration. You can also look at new move-ins. You can look at scheduled students. Now, those are students who have been put into a class. So if you're going to narrow this down and you just want to look at kids who are enrolled in a class or scheduled in a class, that's what this one is. You can also pull a senior list. That can be helpful when we get close to graduation time. The list I use most often is potential students. That gets you every youth who is in the right age range to be attending seminary, regardless of whether or not they've ever attended seminary. So that's going to be your biggest pool of students. So we're going to work with this report today so we can see what kind of things we can find. Again, we go to the slicer, and we're going to select seminary. We're going to get rid of the program by hitting this eraser because we don't want, first of all, that specific program, but also we want to look at this on a stake basis. You could do either one. If you wanted to look at all the students enrolled in your program, regardless of which stake they're in, you would choose program and type in your program name. Right now, we're just going to look at it on a stake basis. So these are just the students in the stake. Again, you'll see the coordinating council. Just click down until you can see the stake. Click on it, and then we'll move the slicer. Now you get to choose what information you want in your report. So you could select all, but usually I just pick a few categories. We're going to pick a student's name. We're going to pick their age. We're going to pick their gender. Let's pick their year in program. It's going to tell us if they're freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Let's pick their current attendance. And let's pick their credit hours. We can look and see if they're on track. You can also choose last attended date. That will tell you the last date they were in class. Let's also choose whether or not these potential students are enrolled. So we will pick that. And when you are looking at enrolled, that's kind of a yes or no question. And you'll see in this column that there are zeros and ones. 0 means no, 1 means yes. And then you can also come down here if you want to include the head of household information, the program that they're in. We'll select the ward that they're in. And then you've got your report built. Now, normally you would think you go up here to export this report, but that will not export this information in this table. Hover in the report area and you'll see these little icons pop up here. That one's a copy. click on the three dots, and that's where you can find export data. We want it in the current layout as an Excel spreadsheet, and then just click on export, and it will download that spreadsheet for you that you can then work with. So that gives you a lot of great information like we could get in S&I recruiting. Now if you want to go back and get it some other way, you can clear all your selections. If you do not clear the selections and you go to run another report, it will remember everything that you have in there. So for this purpose, we're going to clear them. We're going to go back to our slicer, and this time, so we're going to clear the stake. This time we're going to do it by program. Again, type in your program, and you just have to click down until you get to your program. So we've got area, region, coordinator, and now you've got your program. Close out our slicer, and again, we can choose what we want to have in our report. This time we're just going to do their name, we're going to do their year in the program, whether or not they're enrolled, their attendance percentage. And we're going to just pull that one up. And that's all we want in this report. So then again, you hover over this area till you see the icons pop up. And then you can click on the three dots. And again, export the data. Current layout, export, and there's your spreadsheet. So there are some great and useful things in here. I have been very pleased with the new reports in Power BI. I think they have been really helpful. There's a lot there. Do not be afraid to go in and kind of play around with it. You cannot break it. If you kind of get stuck or you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your administrative assistant. We're here to help you and are happy to meet with you one-on-one to walk you through the different reports. I hope this has been helpful, and thank you very much.